All right, we just want to welcome everybody and give a quick thank you to everyone that's watching today. It's really not much of a fireside chat, but I guess more of a laptop side chat, because we wanted to give everybody the opportunity to hear directly from head coach Dabo Swinney on the state of the Clemson football program in the midst of obviously some very unique times right now. So, Coach, we appreciate you making time for this, and I guess we'll lead with obviously the most pertinent and important question in times like these, and that's what can you tell us about the health of you, your staff, and your student athletes?
Well, I'm great, and so far our entire team is doing very well. Obviously, these are very unique times that we're all dealing with right now. Super proud of our university, and our leadership. I think that Clemson has done a great job in establishing the protocols that needed to be put in place to keep us all safe, to keep our community safe, and from my perspective, certainly our staff and our team. For us, fortunately, we were kind of already packed up and gone on break when all this kind of happened that Thursday. So everybody was kind of already going home, and when they made the decision to extend the stay, obviously for a couple of weeks, and then they came back afterwards and said, we're going to extend it all the way through the semester. To me, that made sense, because really we were just going to be bringing our guys back for really only like 3 weeks of class. So if you can do 2 weeks online, you can do 5. So that's really, I think, was a good decision. And from our perspective, has given us time to really get a good plan to get everybody acclimated on what we have to do. But as far as the health and well-being of everyone, to this point, everyone has been fine. We've been staying in, really daily communication. We just had a staff meeting this morning. So we I tried to let everybody kind of enjoy their break last week, because that was kind of the scheduled break. Although we communicated on what the protocols needed to be, and just trying to get everyone to understand what was coming forward. But we really got back to work on Sunday as a staff, and the same thing with our team on Monday. And we're just trying to keep normalcy. But the first thing was to kind of just make sure that everyone was okay from a health and wellness safety standpoint. And so we're in a good spot right now.
Do you have any players that were in real high risk areas during spring break, and was there any extra precaution you needed to take with any of the student athletes?
Yeah, something we do every single year, and really not because of something that is going on now, but every single year we do a kind of, everybody's got to sign in where they're going for spring break. And, I do that because I want to know where they are. And we really do it from more a compliance standpoint. We've always done that. And so we already had that done prior to any of this coming into play. And so we knew where everyone was. And we had a few guys that went down to the beaches and so forth. So technically, yes, I guess we've had, I guess high risk areas would be maybe down on some of the South Florida beaches or something like that, with groups of people. So we had a few players that were down in that area, but so far, no issues with any of our guys or any of that stuff. But that's really it. The majority of the guys, just kind of went back home and enjoyed a little bit of a break.
So in addition,
we didn't know it was going to be this long of a break.
Yeah. So not only monitoring the physical health of your student athletes, but kind of what have you done and what has the program done to kind of check in on their mental welfare as well?
Yeah, so we had about a 2-hour staff meeting on Sunday, and then another about 2-hour staff meeting this morning, and really just kind of staying in touch with everyone, but just making sure we all understand what the expectations are to finish out this semester. And it's been really good. It has. It's been really good. The first thing for us has just been, again, making sure that they're all in a good place. They understand, the expectations and protocols, to help keep themselves safe, and then also the expectations of our program and how we, handle ourselves and so forth, just like we always do, even though this is kind of an extended, time away, from campus. But the number one thing is academics. Obviously, we've got a lot to do academically. Fortunately, a lot of these guys oftentimes will have maybe at least one online classes. Some of them have two. And so they're used to that part of the process. That really wasn't that big a deal for all the classes to kind of go to that. The biggest thing is our tutoring and that process, because obviously those are always in person. But it's been really good. In fact, this morning, I think we'd had like 130 something tutor appointments since Sunday. I was getting an update from our academic staff, and so our guys are up and running. But we, a few technological issues that we've had to work through, whether it be a guy didn't have his battery charger, or we've had a few guys that we had to, help them with their Wi-Fi, whether it be something called a hotspot. I don't know what that is, but evidently it helps you with your Wi-Fi. But not a lot. Most of these guys are well equipped and they're ready. And so every coach has been really daily engaging and communicating with their segment group, just like we would be here. And I tell you, one of the positives that's come from it is, we've all gotten a little more technologically savvy, because for our staff, we've had to use Microsoft Teams, and then this is Zoom, two things that I've never used. So I'm becoming friendly with this Microsoft Teams and Zoom, and it's been great. Even though it's not the same as being in a room together. We're able to have our meetings. We're able to communicate and just stay engaged. And I think that's very important, that we stay engaged with our players daily as if we were back in Clemson. And so our coaches are doing a great job with that. In fact, we just kind of got a full report on every single player on the roster this morning. And the players, I think, have enjoyed it as well. Just, so we're able to have meetings as a group. We're going to have a team meeting next week as well. And so, that's a, kind of business as usual for us, trying to just create as much normalcy as we can, as if we were back, on campus together. So I think that's the biggest thing. But academically, making sure that everybody's on track on what they need to do to focus, and to finish well. We want to have a 3.0 team GPA, and that's something that we talk about all the time. The last two teams, the 19 and 18 team, have had the two highest team GPAs in the history of Clemson football. And so we want this team, this 2020 team, to keep that momentum. And so really focusing on the academics. The strength and conditioning is a huge part of what we've got to do. And so Joey Batson and our strength staff have been very creative with the technology as well. The biggest thing is who has access to weights. And if they have access to weights, then we kind of have a plan of the day. And if they don't have access to weights, and most of them do, but very few don't, but having an alternative plan so that they can get their workouts done. And our strength coaches have done a great job of videoing and using the technology to demonstrate what that alternative plan may be, whether it's filling up a bucket full of dirt or sand or whatever, to get your core workout done for the day. So it's been really good. Guys have kind of had some fun with that, and the guys have been sending video back and forth on what they've been able of their workouts and what they're doing. So I think we're in a good place there. And then same thing with our nutrition, Paul Harrington, and just, keeping these guys a good plan nutritionally on what they need to do. But I tell you what, Ross, I already knew it, but I am so proud of our team. We have a very conscientious team. That's one of the reasons we win, is we have a team that is conscientious, they care, and for the most part, a ton of accountability all throughout our team, and great leadership. And when you have leadership and accountability to go along with talent, you got a chance to be really good. And this team, has got a unique challenge. But for us, as we say, best is the standard, and best is the standard all the time, not just when it's convenient for that to be the case. And we're going to adapt to the best of our ability to find a way to make Clemson better at this time. And that's the challenge we've all accepted, players and coaches. But as far as just kind of where we are right now, that's kind of what we're doing, just daily staying connected, daily staying engaged. And then, we'll get to some of the football stuff. Right now, our conference isn't allowing us to do football meetings, but we can still send them football stuff. Hopefully we're going to get some clarification on that soon so that we can still have daily afternoon meetings from a football standpoint here coming soon. But right now we're just having to push all the football stuff to them on a non-required basis. But, hopefully that's going to change because I know some conferences are allowing their coaches to do that. So working through that a little bit. But, and again, a few technology issues amongst the team, but most of it we've been able to resolve and work out over the last couple of days. But, again, kind of fun to have a staff meeting using the Microsoft Teams. And, so I'm kind of always on the screen and talking. And then when somebody else speaks, their face pops up. But Robbie Caldwell had us all dying laughing this morning because he said the only reason his face wasn't popping up is he said he was naked, and he always wanted to come to a staff meeting naked. So we all got a big kick out of that. And the other thing he said was he didn't know his wife Nora could cook, so he's found out she can cook, and he had to go get the stove out of the storage shed, but she can cook. And so we've had some fun. We've made the best of it, and that's what we'll continue to do. Our program was built with the right people, to respond positively in the face of a challenge. And this is a challenge, but we're fortunate than most. Really, we were able to have 9 practices. We had a full scrimmage. We had a lot of meetings. Obviously, 15 mid-years. Got a good start. Even though they're all back home now. But, we're very fortunate and feel good about where we are from a football standpoint. But we're just going to carry on business as usual. We've got, from a coach's standpoint, we got a lot that we can do. We're having offensive staff meetings, defensive staff meetings, and kind of talking just as if we were sitting in a room together talking about the things that we want to get done. Our summer planning, our pre-scouting for fall, a lot of our summer projects that we work on as coaches individually. We've got a little more time to do some of those things right now. Maybe it's just reading a good book, and also enjoying a little bit of time with the family. So we've got a lot that we can get done, and we will get done. But the number one thing is staying connected to our players and making sure that they're healthy and safe, and continue to stay on track academically.
When you mentioned making sure the players are healthy and safe and in a good place, do you have any players that are on campus or in the area, or did the majority of your players stay home following spring break?
Well, the great majority of them are at home, and we've talked about every single player individually and what their situation is, and so forth. But the great majority are at home. But we've got several kids within the area that are from our areas. So whether it be the Anderson, Clemson, Seneca, Greenville, we've got kids. We've got several Daniel kids. So we do have some guys in the area. We've had a couple of guys that the university allowed to come back because of, they have a unique situation. For example, Ty Lucas's father, his family's in Hawaii. They're on a military base. And so he's able to stay. But other than just a few, most everyone is at home with their family.
And so for your staff, you mentioned they're kind of settling into their routine. What has that routine been like, and how much of a departure is it from what they would have been doing otherwise?
Yeah, well, the biggest departure from what we've been doing otherwise is obviously, we're still having our meetings. We just can't meet together, but it's just practice. So we had 2 more weeks of spring ball this week and next week. So that's the biggest change. Obviously, that's not happening, but really everything else is. I mean, we're still, like I said, once we kind of figured out all this technology and how to do it. It's been good. So we're having our normal staff meetings, just like we would be doing if we were in Clemson, and our offense and our defensive staffs, they're having their normal meetings. And so we don't have practice to grade. We don't have practice to prepare for. We're not hosting recruits on our campus. So that's a change. But we are, still carrying on with what we got done in spring ball. We're working on all of our player evaluations because that's important. We're going to start our exit meetings after next week. So for me, that's something that it usually takes me a couple of weeks or so, maybe 3 weeks to get done with so many players. So this year I'll just have to do every one of them on FaceTime. So I'll do an individual meeting with every player. So will the coaches. So we're putting all the player evaluations together. We're putting all of our again, summer planning together, and our summer projects, because that's one of the things that we always do offensively and defensively, is we kind of assign some summer projects to all the coaches and scouting reports and so forth. And then for me personally, there's a lot that we can do still recruiting wise. Obviously, we can't host anybody on campus or anything like that, but just communicating with our recruits. We can certainly do all of that, and we're still having recruiting meetings, and really a lot of my summer work that is takes a lot of time for me personally. I can get ahead on some of that, so I'm excited about just that opportunity to have a little more time to work on some of the things that take a lot of time in the summer, especially when I'm on my break. So it's good. And, we're all got a chance to get better. I think that's the thing that is a challenge for every one of us, is to take this time to get better, whether it be as a position coach, knowledge of the offense or defense, certainly in recruiting. And then as a coach, there's always individual projects that you want to do, but you're like, you never have time to do. So that's kind of a challenge that I've given all these coaches is to work on some of those individual projects. It might be putting your position manual together, or updating your position manual, or just cleaning out stuff, whatever it may be. So just taking the opportunity to do some of those things. But the number one thing is having those daily meetings with your players. That's the number one thing. So really, we can't go practice, but we can still have staff meetings. We can still have position meetings, even though right now we can't have instruction type meetings. And again, I'm hopeful that's going to change soon, but we still can push football stuff to them that they can review on their own at the appropriate time. But just touching base with them every day and just kind of getting together. And, hey, how was the day? Tell me what's going on. Any issues, just staying in touch and on top of them. That's what we're doing.
Well, it's a unique circumstance, but what kind of pride are you taking in the fact that your staff and your team are remaining productive and still fairly collaborative, even though they're all spread out and separated?
Oh, I'm so proud. I mean, our staff's been amazing. In fact, just talking to Jeff Davis this morning and our Paul Journey group and what they have planned. They've got some things. It's a great opportunity for Paul Journey to engage with our guys and take advantage of some unique time where guys can log on and take advantage of some of the Paul Journey initiatives that we have in place. So there's lots of good things going on. It's been great. I mean, I knew that we had great people, and I knew that we had special young men on our team. But I've been able to really see that, just up close and personal. And like I said, last week for us, we tried to kind of still treat it like spring break and try to, let everybody have a break, but with good precautions in place and just everyone being mindful of what they needed to do. we got back to work on Sunday, and that's kind of our daily mode, just having a daily routine, school, workouts, position meetings where you're engaged with your coaches, and just really daily. We're just doing it virtually. So I'm proud of our coaches. They've done a great job of getting on board and figuring out what we needed to do. And then our university, again, I think has done a great job and giving us good direction as to how we need to operate.
So one of the biggest questions across the entire college sports landscape is how this is impacting recruiting operations. Obviously, with the NCAA dead period, there's some guidance there, but how are your recruiting operations working right now?
Well, great. I mean, for us, there's really not any change. The only change is, with a couple of weeks of spring ball left, we would typically have kids coming into practice and watching practice, and obviously the spring game is a big day for recruiting. We'd have had a lot of people on campus for that, so that's going away. But other than that, we don't at Clemson, we don't do official visits in the spring. That's something that I know a lot of other schools do, but it's just something that we choose not to do. So that part's not really any different for us. Really just being able to interact with recruits on campus that have come unofficially and certainly coming in for the spring game. That part's different. And who knows what's going to happen. We're supposed to be able to be on the road the month of May in recruiting. So I don't know if that's going to happen. My guess would be probably not. So that part is different. So, and that is, you can't talk to them anyway when you go on the road in May. It's more evaluation, and coaches have always enjoyed being able to go and watch spring practice and just check. We have a lot of boxes that we have to check in our recruiting process. So that'll be a little different. So we'll have to, make sure we do a great job, with our film evaluation and gathering all the academic data and so forth that we need to get. But, we're hopeful that we'll be able to, have our camps in the summer, but who knows? I don't think any of us, know anything right now. But we'll just have to wait and see. But in the immediate, the biggest change is just, again, the spring game, not having people on, and most likely not being able to go on the road in May. But we'll just see how it happens. If the university opens back up in May, hopefully people can come on campus. I don't know. We'll just have to kind of, see how all that goes. But we can still, text all these guys. We can have conversations with them. They can call us and so forth. So that's what we're doing. I feel great about our 2021 class right now. I believe we've got 10 commits right now. We're off to a great start and very focused on the guys that we want to fill our last few spots with. So, we're in a good place. So just being creative with our staff and using the technology that's available to us.
Earlier, you emphasized academics, and I want to transition there for a second. Whenever your student athletes are on campus, they have all kinds of resources available to them academically from the Nieri Family Center. What kind of support are they receiving remotely right now?
Yeah, I tell you what, Matt Lombardi has done an amazing job, and Steve Duzan, just all of our Nieri staff. It's pretty incredible, really, to see how they've worked. They have worked so hard, as have our tutors and just, all the academic operations that's over in the Nieri Center. It's just pretty amazing. Again, the online class part of it, most of our guys have had an online class or two, and so that part of it, I think they were able to adjust pretty quickly. But the tutorial side is very different. So learning how to use all the Zoom, which is, I think that's what we're doing. Are we doing Zoom? That's what we're doing. Yeah. Learning how to use all this Zoom stuff and understanding, like one of the things for us that we have really tried to stress with our guys is, having that classroom etiquette and that classroom behavior, even though you might be sitting at home or whatever, just having the proper etiquette, with Zoom and being in class. But they're doing everything, just like they would be doing at Clemson. They're just not meeting in person. So the tutorial sessions are great because they can do screen sharing. They've got the whiteboard aspect of it as if they're just sitting in the room together. So that part's been really, really good. And from the classroom standpoint, our guys have done well also. But our coaches, I'm really proud of them because they've really taken ownership of really staying on top of what their guys need to do academically and keeping the structure that they need, so that all of a sudden you're just not drifting and we have a bad semester academically. But the good thing for us is, again, we have a bunch of young people who are academically, they value education, they're committed to it, and they understand the structure and expectations of our program, and they came here with that mindset. So we're just pushing forward, no different. Even though it's a little unique, we're trying to make the best of it. And I think our guys are doing a great job, and especially our Neary staff and Lombardi. He's been awesome. He was on our staff meeting call this morning and gave us a great report. We had a few technology issues and a couple of little kinks that we need to work out. But for the most part, our guys are doing an awesome job.
Well, understanding its role in the big picture, we can at least still talk football a little bit. I just kind of wanted to hear from you, and you mentioned it earlier, your philosophy is, hoping to be the last off the field in January and one of the first back on the field in the spring. You were on the field February 26th and got some good practices in. How fortunate were you to have started that early, and do you view that as a competitive advantage maybe?
Well, we were very fortunate. I just view being at Clemson as a competitive advantage, to be honest with you. Whether we had any spring practice or not, I just think just being at Clemson is an advantage because we've got great people and we've got a talented team with great leadership. So to me, that's whether you had one practice or no practices. I think that is a competitive advantage. So I'm thankful for that, but it is a blessing for sure. And obviously I had no idea that we're dealing with something crazy like this, but I am thankful that we were able to get 9 good days. I mean, we really had great meetings. We didn't get all of our install in, obviously, but we did get a good amount of installation in, and we had to kind of slow down a little bit because we did have 15 mid-years, and some of those guys kind of hit the wall on us. So we slowed our install down, but we had good practices, good meetings. I think we've got a good feel for our team. I thought we got better, especially the young guys. I thought we got better as spring went, and then we were able to have that one big scrimmage on I think it was the 10th or 11th. We were able to have a big scrimmage, and it was good. It was very competitive, and we had our pro day. We had a couple of junior days, so I'm very thankful. We had one in February and one in March. I'm very thankful and grateful for what we were able to do. Certainly wish we could have finished it and all that, but, that's just, what we're dealing with. But I think our team's in a good place. I think from a health standpoint, some of our long-term rehab guys, Nolan, he's doing well. He's back in Birmingham, and Brighton Constantine is another one. He's back home in Louisiana, and Danny Poole's done a good job kind of coordinating with what their rehab's going to look like there. And so Booth is still progressing very well, and Mario I think is making progress and feeling better too. So obviously some of those guys we thought we were going to get back for the second half of spring ball, so they didn't get any much practice on the first half. But we're in a good place as a team, and like our roster, we've got 8 more signees that'll be joining us in the summer, and look forward to getting them in the mix as well.
How much of a benefit have you seen from the continuity that you've had on your coaching staff, as well as the continuity you have at a lot of prominent positions on your roster right now?
It's been good. I mean, from a staff standpoint, obviously we've all been together for a while. We understand who we are, what we do, how we do it, and why we do it. that way. So that certainly helps because of not having to, train up a bunch of new coaches, even though Grisham is a new on the field coach for us. I mean, he played for me, and then he was a GA for 3 years and a player development guy for 3 years. So he's been back, and he's very much up to speed as far as, all things Clemson. So we're in a good place from a staff standpoint. And then from a team standpoint, I love the leadership of this team. I think you look at what we have at quarterback, you look at that first group of offensive line, you look at what we got out at receiver, at tight end, over on the defensive line. It's totally different this time than where we were this time last year. Just more experience, more depth, more competitive depth. I mean, great leadership at linebacker, unbelievably committed people at linebacker. Super excited about our safeties in that room. And then, we got obviously got Fred in here this spring and got a chance to see him a little bit. But, I think when it's all said and done, our corner room is going to be pretty special as well. Sheridan Jones, DK's obviously back. Mario is a guy that we have high hopes for, just getting him back healthy. And, Lee Anthony had a great, 9 days of practice and really just has another level of maturity to him. So it's a good group. Spires and Potter. I think he was like, 35 of 36 or something like that. I think he missed one kick all spring. So really, really excited. Jack Maddox was kind of leading the way in our snapper position. And we're able to get a couple other guys in there as well to compete. But, roster-wise, leadership-wise, we're in a good place. And I'm really proud of how our guys have taken charge of their position groups as far as a guy like Jackson Carman or Bachhorst. Those are veteran guys for us now. And, Jordan McFadden, even though he's a young player still, he's a guy now going to be a redshirt sophomore and a guy that I think has a chance to be really special. Cage Stewart really stepping up and embracing his opportunity and leading some of those young guys that we have in that second group. And same thing over the defensive side with KJ and Maskell and Xavier and Foster. We've got 4 really good veteran guys to go along with Greg and Miles Murphy, 2 young bucks just rolling in there. And so it's good leadership across the board.
Is there anything you feel like you weren't able to accomplish by virtue of losing that extra practice time in the spring game?
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously would have loved to. I mean, we're fortunate at Clemson that when we have a spring game, we're going to have, 50 to 70-something thousand people there. And there's just nothing like that to be able to simulate that moment, to split the team. I always really enjoy that. It was going to be very competitive this year. I was excited about seeing these quarterbacks, in that environment. But, obviously that is what it is. But, more meetings, more installation, more things that we wanted to get done. But we're in a good place. And like I said, it's just, a great opportunity for us to be creative and a great opportunity for us to all, just grow and get better. And that's what we're going to do.
So obviously you're one of 130 coaches just waiting to see what plays out and hear what comes down from the NCAA. But if the NCAA proposed or had an option to maybe add some days to fall camp or maybe have some kind of summer mini camp, are those the kinds of things you'd be in favor of?
Yeah, I'm open to whatever. I'm not really for extending camp. I don't like that idea of it. But I would love if and even if they said, okay, like a team like Clemson got 9 days, maybe if they just said, okay, everybody can have 12 on-field sessions, and so that means we would get only 3. Just to make it equitable or whatever. But some of these schools who got none, they could get 12. But, no pads, no tackling or anything like that. But just to be able to get on the field and, teach your stuff and have some prep time. Football is very important. There's a reason why the NFL has OTAs and different phases before they get into camp. I don't think extending camp is the right approach. I think it would be better, in my opinion, if you just gave schools opportunities to go out and have some just on-field sessions. Like I said, no pads, etc. But be able to do some installation, run some full speed stuff, good fundamentals, and teach what you want to do, just to kind of football condition wise, get them a little bit more prepared for camp. So I hope, I would love that. And also, or at a very minimum, be able to have good quality meetings or walkthroughs on the field. So I don't know where it's going to go, but I would definitely, be in support of that for this extenuating circumstance.
So this is obviously outside of your control, but is there any level of concern on your end that this may extend and impact the 2020 season?
Oh, I mean, I think everybody has concern because, we're dealing with something that, none of us, I mean, I'm not an expert on any of this stuff, that's for sure. So I think, safety is first and foremost, and all you can do is let all the powers that be, make the decisions, and you go with it. But, I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful that we'll be back at it. I just think this is, I think the good Lord is good all the time. And, this is a unique time in our lives, so I'm 50. I've never lived through anything like this. My mom was telling me the other day, cause she's a polio survivor, and she had polio, back in the 40s. And, that was a scary thing when they didn't have a polio vaccine. And so, she was just talking about, different times in life. We're always have challenges in America, but I know this, God is good all the time, and his light will shine through in this darkness for everyone. As far as football goes, I'm very hopeful that we will be back at it and rolling, but who knows? There's certainly concern, but I'm more, instead of being concerned, I'm just being faithful, and just trying to, keep my eyes on the good Lord, and know that something great's going to come from all this. And also just keeping all those in my thoughts and prayers that are really struggling. I mean, this is a tough time, and I'm just hopeful that it'll be over sooner than later, and that we can step up and help and make a difference for a lot of these people who've been very, very negatively impacted by all this.
Well, and speaking of trying to help folks who were negatively impacted, you've had student athletes in the news cycle over the last 24, 48 hours for trying to use their platform to help people who have been impacted by this. What does it mean to you to see players trying to reach out to others in a time of need?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's great when anybody, tries to reach out and help in a time of need. But certainly, proud of our players, and I know we had a little media issue this week with Trevor, and what his girlfriend was trying to do there, and so I think it's great, and that's what servant leadership is all about, and that's servant leadership at its best right there, and trying to use this platform to help others, and I'm glad that the NCAA is allowing them to hopefully make a difference for some folks.
Well, Coach, I just kind of want to open up the floor to you. Do you have any message to Clemson fans or anything you'd like to pass along to the folks that are watching?
Well, biggest thing is I miss all y'all. Sorry that we didn't get a chance to finish up, what we love to do, but and then just I really hope everyone is safe. I know that this is a time of uncertainty, but you know what? It's also a time where we all have an opportunity to grow. We all have an opportunity to maybe reconnect in different areas of our lives, but also just Keep all these people in your thoughts and prayers that have been very, negatively impacted. You think about the waiters and the waitresses and the supply chains and all these things. It's just a domino effect. People losing jobs and so forth. And so just lift them up, keep our focus on the right things. Football will take care of itself. Our team's in a good place, and we all are missing, sports in general and all those things. And hopefully when we do get our lives back and we kind of can get back on track, hopefully we'll have even more of an appreciation for the privilege that we have of, living in this country and all the information and knowledge and great and wonderful doctors and nurses that we have out there. It's amazing, what's going on right now in our country and all these great people that are serving so many. So just pray for our leadership, pray for guidance, pray for all the medical people, and just everyone stay safe. I'm certainly not an expert on what's going on. I wouldn't even try to be, but I definitely think that, we can definitely learn from the experts and the protocols that people put forth out there to try to help us overcome this challenge. So, stay clean, wash your hands a lot, and, be very mindful of where you are. Hopefully you're home safe, but if you are out, stay out of groups and try to stay away from sick people and those type things. And if you are sick, stay home for sure. And man, we can kick this thing in the tail and get back to our lives here at some point. But God bless all of you, and hope to see everyone real soon, and hopeful that we'll all be back in the Valley celebrating this September on another great game day. But until then, stay safe. Follow the protocols that have been put forth by a lot of smart people out there, and let's do our part. So God bless, and go Tigers.